So good morning, good morning. Oh, excuse me. Now, good afternoon.
Yes.
It's officially afternoon now, and you have tuned in to the live on Instagram. So that's my business show with Leslie McGraw, who's myself. I'm a social media coach and um, and writer, and I have on my show today. This is the second show. And today is attorney Robyn McCoy. So I'm going to give you a little bit about her. Before I do, let me give you the crux of what this show is about. So I use recurring or current clients and just kind of give a purview into the complexities and the nuances they have of how they receive social media, how they share on social media, what they use it for, how they use it, how I help them, and moreover, some tips to get started on your own social, whether you have a business or you're supporting someone that has a business or an organization. So Robyn, so attorney Robyn L. McCoy, graduated with honors in anthropology from the University of Chicago and obtained her Juris Doctorate from the University of Michigan Law School in 2000. She was mentioned by mentored. So she actually knew First Lady Michelle Obama during her last term at the University of Chicago. Ms. McCoy has planned, facilitated, and organized numerous presentations on what to do when stopped by the police, knowing your rights when encountering the police, immigration, or you are the victim of ethnic intimidation, the expungement and federal prison pardon process, and how to successfully navigate the public education system. She presently is a partner with the firm of McCoy and Associates, PLLC, in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she's also the president of the Black Women Lawyers Association of Michigan. Ms. McCoy has 2 YouTube channels. So Robyn Legal, that's how she's joining us today. And also Political Coffee with Robyn and Tracy. So it looks like someone is requesting to be in the video. Are you expecting anyone?
No, I wasn't requesting any, or no.
Me neither. So we will let that go. And so let's dive right in. So the first thing is, that's a lot of stuff that you do.
First, thank you, Leslie, for inviting me to be on your show. And hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here on this wonderful Thursday.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad you could come.
I'm glad that I was able to figure this out, y'all. Okay, because I'm doing it's all this stuff on social media. I mean, I'm Facebook. I'm pretty comfortable with Twitter. Instagram, Snapchat. I'm like, come on. I'm just like, why can't I just have one app and then it just. I know they say you can do some things like that. Like, I mean, YouTube too. Like, you get on YouTube and then you share it with everything else. It's so, it's kind of overwhelming. But we got Leslie. We got you to help guide. I've got my webmaster, Kyle. So it's,
yeah. So the first thing is to think about, so let me back up. I have to address that. I can't let that go. So I hear that from a lot of people that say, oh, it's too much. I got to go on this, I got to go on that, and all these different platforms. That is not the case. You only have to go on one. And then once you get familiar with that one, then you get on 2. And the rule in social media is 1 + 1 is 3. So it's if you have 2 active social media accounts that you're really doing everything that you can, then it is the equivalent of having like 3, and then you can just share stuff onto the other ones. The other thing to think about is you're on a lot of things, right? So you're on a lot of boards and programs, and so you come across, and I'm the same way. you have a lot of people that you come in contact with and you interact with through your professional and personal lives. And
Right.
so not everybody is on everything, right? So
Right.
you have your core, like I got my little community that I know no matter where I am, they're gonna try to to figure it out. And then other people that I only really interact with on those sites. Like I have one social media buddy, Kate is her name. I
Oh,
only see her on Twitter.
oh, okay.
That's it. Like I've hello, I don't know, CC, welcome. She was just saying there's so many different apps out there. So thinking about one at a time, and even before you get into the app, it's really that's like a secondary conversation. So when I meet with clients or prospects, usually they say, I want to be on Facebook and I want to be on Instagram. They'll tell me what they want to be on.
Okay.
And I say, no, that's not how we're gonna do this. Like we're gonna see what you have, who your people are, where they are, and then you should be where they are. It doesn't work like that. It's not like, if you think about it in real life terms, that's like me going to a place that I like and say this is where you all should come to see me to have business with me,
Okay.
right? Like like no, I need to be there where they are. So you'll find that that changes. For a while. Facebook was everything. Most of my clients found me through Facebook.
Okay.
That's just not the case anymore. Okay, Facebook has changed their algorithm.
Okay.
There's not the same perks for small businesses and small business advertising as there once was. Um, the the average post, may get something like 1 to 5% of your friends can actually see your Facebook post. So I'm still on Facebook because I like it and I have a lot of family and friends on there, but it's become more personal for me rather than a professional way, unless you have enough. Like I have some clients that have enough money to quote unquote play.
Okay.
Um, but if you don't, it may not be. And then you do a lot of community work,
Right.
right?
And I'm
So
I'm very active on Facebook. I would say I have a lot of friends, family, judges, attorneys. So I am very engaged with Facebook. Like as far as if I'm doing an event, like Black women lawyers will post on Facebook, or if I'm doing some kind of expungement event or something like that, I will post. I'll start with Facebook, then Twitter, then Instagram, YouTube, but I have a lot of engagement from and following from folks on Facebook. But then what I was told too, that Instagram is, if you're wanting to talk to younger people, Instagram. I know you also said Snapchat, and so
TikTok.
yeah, TikTok, yeah. So yeah, it's a lot.
So let's go backwards a little bit. So you it can dive right in. Um, let's break down a little bit about some of the various roles that you play,
Okay.
what you do there, because we heard a lot of titles in your bio, right? So what you do there and how for that role, how you receive social media and how you share on social media, how you engage with it.
Okay.
So the first one I think that you mentioned was the expungement workshops.
Yes, I mean, well, obviously before the pandemic, they were in person, and I would do them in person, but I would also get them on recorded, because I understood that not everybody could be physically present for expungement workshops, or what to do
Can
and
you
stop by
tell
the
us?
police.
I'm sorry. Can you tell us what expungement is?
Yes, so expungement is, it's setting aside a criminal conviction, and we had prior laws or legislation in effect that said you could get one felony and two misdemeanors convictions set aside. Now, as of April 11th, we have the new clean slate legislation. So now you can have up to 3 felonies set aside and unlimited misdemeanors. But it depends. It depends on, it's not just every felony, and it is more expansive with misdemeanors. They did just add drunk driving. Like if you have one drunk driving offense, you can get that set aside. But you got to know, it's not just necessarily a free for all. Like if you have like a life conviction, murder, rape, you can't get that set aside. You'd have to try to get a pardon from the governor. And so I was recruited by my mentor, Judge Deborah Thomas. She's been doing it, I think she said maybe about 20 years, going around educating people about expungements. And then she would recruit attorneys, because attorneys can answer questions, certain questions that, you know, the judges can only engage on certain levels. So I was invited to join her, and I traveled all over the state doing the workshops, and we were providing applications to people. And the prior law was, I think it was more complicated. And so, you know, I know starting in February, I started doing workshops, but we're in the pandemic. So I'm doing them virtually. And I would say too, the pandemic has really, I wanted to be more tech savvy. But the pandemic kind of like, I don't know, it accelerated it. Like I had been talking to my webmaster about Robyn Legal. We created the Robyn Legal website, and I was talking about YouTube, but the pandemic just really accelerated that because we were not able to go meet with people in person. And then I was vice president of Black Women Lawyers in Michigan, and obviously,
hold on. I'm going to slow you down because Robyn, like I tell you, Robyn does everything, so we have to do one thing at a time. So right now, okay, for expungement, how do you engage with social media for for expungement? So how do you get information about? Do you receive anything, and how do you decide where you would share information to reach the people that could potentially benefit from your workshops?
Right. So with expungement, even before the legislation changed, I would bring community partners together to talk about expungement and federal pardons. I did that last year. So
when you say community partners, you mean you work with nonprofit organizations or groups?
I would bring in initially we were doing it with lawyers and judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and then the last couple of years, I have invited in state representatives and state senators because they're the ones making the laws that affect the public. And so, and sometimes it would be me with the partners, like the state reps, and it would be in a Zoom. We would do a Zoom, but my webmaster Kyle showed me how to do Zoom and Facebook Live. So I was doing Zoom, Facebook Live, and then then I learned how to do Zoom YouTube. So then I was doing, or now actually I'm doing a lot more Zoom YouTube Live. And then I share it on Twitter, and I record it to put it on Instagram. So the Instagram is a newer format for me. I'm still learning that.
So you're sharing your for the expungement workshops, you're sharing on Facebook, right? And on YouTube and Zoom. And right. So and so when you meet with people that come to these workshops, how are they finding out?
So if it's something that I do and I have obviously enough time, I will send out a press release to the news outlets. I will do that. Sometimes I'm invited in as an expert. So then the people that are like, I did one Michigan United, and they're a nonprofit and they work with returning citizens. and they did the press release. All I had to do was show up, which actually was one of the best. I love that.
So we're going. What she meant to say is that she only had to show up and help with pre-event promotion, right? Because I'm sure,
well, like I did a radio interview, or I've had times we've had radio interviews, TV interviews, and recruiting. It just depends on the format for the expungement workshops. Sometimes we have to, I'll recruit other attorneys to come in and volunteer to basically, like before you would come in person and they'd have you go in a room and there will be a divider where you could talk with the attorney. Now we're doing it virtually. So we have it where we might have a general presentation and invite everybody in, the public in, and then you have someone that puts you in a breakout room, like what I've been doing recently, where they put me in a breakout room with a person and I get their name and their date of birth, and then I will assess their eligibility. And sometimes I can assess it maybe 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes it may take a little bit more research to assess whether they're eligible to have their conviction set aside.
Okay, so let's say I have a couple felonies.
Okay.
Let's just pretend.
Girl, I don't even know. Okay, go ahead. I see my mom has joined us. So hello, mother. Hello, Nurse Pam.
Hello. So if I had a couple felonies and I'm not in a tech world, right? So I needed to find out more information. Where would I go to find, where is the social media presence that I should go? Should I go to your website, or should I go to your Facebook or to your YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, my website, I do list events on my website. I get a lot of people that see me on Facebook or Twitter, or they just hear about me because I'll put flyers out and other people will share that information. I know, with expungement, it is very much, you have like the Attorney General's office. You can go to that website. She's doing fairs. You have some of the progressive prosecutors, Ellie Savitt, like Washtenaw County, he's doing expungement fairs. Right. So it used to be only a select group of us were doing these, but now it's like a lot more, we've had a lot more partners that have become involved, which is a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful because now, and when we did it before, not everybody was eligible. So you have a larger class of people that are eligible. And so I definitely think that it's a beautiful thing that you're getting more brothers and sisters in the law they're getting trained on how to do it. And, I also made sure, like Tracy and I interviewed Representative David LeGrand, who's one of the architects of the Clean Slate
Tracy is your co-host on Political Coffee, right?
Yes, Tracy is an attorney, and she has an entertainment background, and so I was doing my Robyn Legal, and she asked me, she said, well, why don't we do some Political Coffee? So that's another thing that kind of has birthed out of the pandemic. Like Robyn Legal was in its infancy, baby steps. Before the pandemic with the website, and then the pandemic hit, and then I started interviewing people, lawyers, politicians, community leaders on Robyn Legal. And then Tracy said, why don't we interview some folks with Political Coffee? So we've done that. We've interviewed politicians, people running for office. We've been, people who are doing positive things in the community. Like I said, Representative David LeGrand, former Rep Mary Waters, who was considered an expungement. She initially introduced legislation for expungement. Former State Rep Sherry Gay Degnogo, and so so actually, I mean, the pandemic sucked, but there's been a lot of birthing for me that's come out of the pandemic, whether it's Robyn Legal with my own firm and my own practice, but then also Black women lawyers in Michigan. Like wait,
we're not gonna bring in Black women lawyers just yet, right? Okay. Right. So this is part of, we talk about a social media or digital presence.
Okay.
It's really about organizing it for the user,
Right.
right? So if we're organizing your social media, which I'm saying, you have so many things that you do, right? So if
Right.
I just want to know about expungements that you're hosting or you're part of, like I want to keep up with your expungement work, I would go to Robyn Legal, right?
You can go to the Robyn Legal, ROBYN legal, .com. You can go to my website, or you can go to my YouTube, Robyn Legal, and you'll see I put current videos on there. So you can see expungement videos. And
But you
then we
wouldn't see
have,
community workshops that are coming up there.
yeah, if you go to, I'll put those on my Robyn Legal website. I'll put up some workshops. Facebook, I don't know, for some reason, Facebook is the first place that I go when I post. I go to Facebook, then Twitter, then
You're
Instagram.
comfortable. Facebook is the easiest because it's been there the longest. I mean,
Right.
you know, if Facebook was a mother, um, uh, or it was a person, if Facebook was a person, it would be almost about to graduate high school. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you're comfortable with Facebook. Your mama says, so YouTube and Facebook Live.
Yeah, yeah. And I have my
Yeah.
mother, Pamela, who is wonderful. She has been supportive of me. You know, she came out to some of the things that I did in person when we were in Washtenaw County. But she's been, you know, she's a retired nurse. She's been doing that thing with social media. So she comes out to support me. I have other friends and clients, folks that come out to support me. So I'm very appreciative of that. And I try to support other folks too, that with what they're doing.
Right. So I would go to Robyn Legal or YouTube, or Facebook for expungement things. And then you mentioned political coffee.
Yes.
So that's a different brand, right?
Right.
So you host multiple brands. So before we get to that, what else is under the Robyn Legal brand? That's your personal professional brand.
So what to do when stopped by the police is something that I was doing expungement, and then I was like, wait a minute, what about what to do when stopped by the police? What about we talk to people before they get caught up in the system, and we try to avoid them having
Mm-hmm.
to get a conviction set aside. So I was very much upset about what happened. You know, the brutality that I've seen against Black folk, brown folk, disabled folk. I was upset. I was angry about it. I cried. I prayed on it, and then the Lord told me to start doing the programs, and so I started doing the programs. I had the idea to be doing it, and it was like November of 2014, and then around that time we had all that craziness. You know, there was protests about Ora Rosser, the sister that was killed by the police here, and so I was just like, what is it for me to do? You know, my family has raised me to be Afrocentric, so we've educated ourselves about Black consciousness, and just to try to have a positive viewpoint of us as African Americans in a predominantly white space. And I've been to some protests and rallies, and when I was in law school in support of affirmative action. But what I said I wanted to do the most is make sure I graduate law school and become a successful attorney. Because I
Now
was like, if I'm
now that's
protesting,
a real lesson because I think a lot of us get caught up really young and maybe get too caught up to the point where we can't make the biggest impact.
okay, that's what I've heard about people that protest themselves out of school. And so, I mean, and that for me too, it's hard every time I do see something that happens to somebody as far as police brutality or somebody being harmed. I want to be in the streets too and protest. But then I got my mama, Nurse Pam. She was like, "Girl, COVID is out there. You gonna go out there?" And so that's where I created on my Robyn Legal that I had on the YouTube. You can go, and one of my most popular videos is how to protest peacefully. Stay your ass at home.
Right.
It's just a lot of people have that. They're like, okay, because I did the straight videos. I did the videos. If you want to protest, here's the law, here are the rules, and they're talking about things you have to carry and all. It's intense, like dealing with pepper spray. And so I'm like, okay, I know some of y'all gonna go out there and y'all gonna protest. and y'all gonna be in the streets, and we need people in the streets. We're not saying people
We
shouldn't be in the
definitely
streets.
need people doing everything, like in all the different,
like boycott. You can boycott. You can be on social media and protest. You can do. I said make a song. I mean, I did some songs. I was like, do a dance. I haven't done the dance yet. I was talking about I'm gonna do it. I'm a dancer, so I'm gonna get there. But I'm a kind of perfectionist too.
Right.
So
right. So all these things. So when you're on What to Do When Stopped by the Police, how will I know what's going on with that project? Where do I find more information about that?
I have recent videos. I've updated my videos. So that's on Robyn Legal on both the YouTube and the website. I put it, it's been on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But I've shortened the videos because I'm learning. The shorter your video, the more likely people are going to watch your video.
Right.
As if you have an hour, we're lawyers. I mean, Tracy and I are lawyers. You want to be on there, you want to talk to somebody an hour and a half, but you got folks that don't have that kind of attention span to sit there for an hour. So, if you make it like a shorter video, you get more props, get more attention.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're going to start closing this one out. And because you do so much, I think we'll probably have you back on later in the year, in a couple months or something, to talk about what you do with political coffee, because I do think that is really important to talk about too, about how you interact, or if you've had anybody that's maybe some bad actors commenting, or as you get more reach, you get more dissenters, and how will that affect your firm? Because you have to think about your father too, who's a partner, right?
Right, and he's independent. I mean, I'm a Democrat. I'm a card-carrying Democrat. I'm progressive, but my dad is like, I'm an independent, dog. He's like, look, you going out there. I mean, that's what he's also said to me. Even though I am a Democrat, he says, look at people. Look at how they treat you. Republican, independent, or Democrat. Look at how people, because we come from a very loving family, supportive family, as far as our clients, supportive, and then, but it's like you have people that will, come in and use you up and spit you out. And so that's why my dad is just like, always like, make sure you treat the clients well, or treat your people you're supporting well. But if they don't support you when your time of need, then, be mindful of that. Don't just go supporting everybody, that's a shout out to Attorney McCoy. I'm in the office of McCoy and Associates right now. So this is a transition too, because I'm in my office. A lot of my initial videos are from my home,
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, right. And so, that's another thing we can make sure that, in closing, remind people, because I'm in that place too, where I've been moving around, thinking of the best lighting and the best place. I think this lighting is a little bit better than, I really like to do live in a nice quiet space with art, and that's not always possible, and it's not always the best for lighting. And so thinking about if you're going to do live videos, because videos are kind of the future,
Right.
as far as social media, thinking about having a space where you can go to. I'm still kind of back and forth. I have 2 spots now, but thinking about if you're going to do live, I think a lot of times going live feels really scary because, one, it's the technical aspect and things are always changing.
Right.
Y'all make sure you tune in next Tuesday. I'm gonna talk about some of these Instagram changes. They've changed the tools around again. And then the other thing is just the logistics of it. Like, where am I going to be? What if I have a roommate or someone else working from home? How am I going to have, make sure the dog isn't barking at the delivery person, or
or the boyfriend isn't coming in, like talking to you, and it's like, look, I'm on live. My boyfriend he's been really good. He brings me, he'll bring me something to drink. He'll see that I'm on. I try to make sure to let him know, look, I'm on. But I also have to go in a space, because he has his news and the History Channel and sports. So he has, I can't be in his space. I gotta go and be in my own space and do what I do. And yeah, sometimes I will record some of I like the features of being able to record like on Zoom and then sharing it on social media, because then you can kind of rehearse it, some of it. And then, I mean, again, I have a perfectionistic tendency. So I may do a couple of videos and then share it. And then it's like, but I'm also flexible. I can do live too. I can do, I mean, because as a litigator in court, you're online live, you're prepared, but
right.
You just got to get out there. You never, I don't know, being in court, it's like a living, breathing entity. So you got to just go with the flow, and you try to do the best you can. And I'm gonna just say this too, for clients, just please tell your mama the truth, tell your lawyer the truth, because I don't, we get out there and we get into court and we represent certain things that our clients have said to us. And then if it comes out that it's not true, it's just not, especially if you're in trial and you're making representations, it's just not fun. It's not, I think that might be part of why my dad doesn't do criminal defense anymore. But I mean, even in other cases, you can have it where a client will have you going a certain road, and then it's like, and then they, like, I had a
come up with a new piece of information, right?
They come up with some new stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, I sat with you. Well, I forgot, I didn't think it was important. And I'm like, man, I'm here, I'm trying to have success in representing you, but I need to know the truth, the facts,
Yeah. Let this word bless somebody today, because I've I've seen it happen. Yeah, and sometimes that's mama's money that's paying for you to be up there lying to your lawyer.
Tell the truth. Don't be out there. I mean, well, I remember I was doing one of my programs, What to Do and Stop by the Police, with Detective Brian Fountain from the Detroit Police Department. He was talking about a case with a young man that didn't tell his lawyer or his mother the truth and ended up going to prison for life. Whereas if they had, I mean, now I tell people, when you go to the police, zip it, be polite, give your real name, be respectful. But I tell people to zip it, because based on what you say, they decide whether to charge you. So I say, don't just say, I want to see a lawyer. I'm exercising my right to remain silent, so, because I would say the majority of the cases that I see where the police have evidence and the people give a statement, and it's like, for the police and the prosecutor, it's a slam dunk. There's only, I come in as damage control, but there's oftentimes there's only so much I can do, because you've already confessed, you've already, I mean, it may not even be, people always say, I didn't confess, that what's in the report, that's not what I said, that's not what happened. Well, if you didn't say anything and you just asked for a lawyer, then we might not be here. So that's What to Do and Stop by the Police. That's what motivated me to I really would like to see more basic civic classes across the board for like middle school students.
We're gonna talk about all that when you come back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So in closing, I want to say that people can come back, and in the next couple of days, I'm gonna get with Robyn and get where you can find out information on all the different projects that she currently or recently has been a part of, so you can keep up on what's going on with Black Women Lawyers of Michigan, which she's the president of, or the expungement workshops. And of course, many more people are doing expungement workshops, but I'm biased. I think Robyn has the best handle on it.
I try to do the best. I am only one person. We still need more brothers and sisters of law to get trained on it, to help people. I'm doing them. I'm not doing them pro bono. I'm doing them for reduced rate at this time, which my father is kind of like, why? But I mean, I am working with people, but we need more lawyers to come on board, because, there's thousands of people. I mean, they said it could be up to 1 million people that could get their records cleared, but we need more legal partners, and we need the judges, progressive judges, to, because because it's not a guarantee that you get your record set aside. It's a privilege, you know, and it's at the discretion of the judges. So we need to get more judges to buy in and understand that just because a person makes a mistake, it should not be a life sentence, that if they should have the opportunity to redeem themselves so they can get, most people are telling me they can't get jobs or they can't advance on their jobs because of their criminal conviction. And if you paid your debt to society, that should be it. You know, it shouldn't have to be forever.
Right. And I agree. So, all right, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Leslie.
Maybe, oh, yes. I'm so glad you could make it. Maybe in November, we can talk, and like I said, we can get into a little bit about maybe politics on social media, because that's something right now.
Yeah, for sure. So
everything is political today.
Yes,
all
it
right.
is.
All right, but we can save that. So don't forget to send me where I can find you. I have some of it here. Maybe I'll send it to you.
Yeah, but I'll send you some stuff too with Black women lawyers. We're going to have some programming coming up with expungement, talking to people about the eviction, how to deal with the eviction crisis, and vaccinations. I mean, I know that's controversial, but I was vaccinated. I mean, I was hesitant, but I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, I know some people that are vaccinated. Most people I know are vaccinated, but some people aren't. And it's like, we just kind of have to deal with people's comfort zone, you know?
Yeah. So just go ahead and send me that info so we can keep up with you and all the good work you're doing in the community.
Yeah, sure. For sure. I will.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.